Okay, so we'll start slow by just warming up our wrists. So let's have the back of the wrists next to the knees and just wiggle your fingers a bit. And then start making a fist and open the palm of the hand. Open and close. And then same in the front, get the thumbs together with the back of the hand down and go up and down towards straight elbows. And then either sitting on your knees or in your normal tabletop, if you already want a bit more weight, just take a little walk with your hands. All directions. Haven't moved today. Maybe even go onto the fingertips, stretch out your hands. And then from there, walk back into a plank, start rocking forward and back. If you're not sensitive on your toes, you can roll over the toes, bring it back. Also stretch out the toe point. And yourself back onto the knees, thumbs are back, little arms in one line with your shoulders, little circles back. Make sure the ribs are not moving with just the thumbs back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands with the thumbs back, exactly like that behind the back. Pull the elbows together and drop. Also here we want to avoid bringing the chest forward or arching in the spine. It's only the shoulders moving forward and back. Okay, and let's go all the way onto our feet. Roll through the spine all the way up and all the way down. Just 3 times. Back a bit, same. Squat with the knees out, tracking onto your feet. Take the arms up, let the hips come down. 3 times. And one leg bends. I like to give a little push on the other side to create some space. If it doesn't feel good on your legs or knees, don't worry about it. And then come into a forward fold where you feel your shoulders over your wrists. We want to lift from the hip up and go towards the wrist. Make this about the active compression, pulling the leg in and tapping wherever you feel like it's accessible. Also add some speed and stay on the tippy toes the whole time. Nice. Bring it all the way back down. Stay with your fingertips on the floor. Bring the knees down to the floor and pull the knees towards your chest. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Move the screen down a bit so you see better. The feet are in this mini V shape, just a little wider than your hips. Grab opposite elbows. Go with your elbows towards your feet and bring it back up. Active compression, go forward. Keep the length. Think of pushing them all the way with your elbows to the front. And then hover, straighten out the arms. Keep lifting the arms overhead for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Roll it back up. Hands behind the hips. I like it with the fingers turned out, but you can also go any other direction. Start with the shoulders up, rock forward and back. Keep the squeeze behind the shoulder blades and the hips pushing up. Nice. Left foot stays down. Kick the right leg up. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other side. Lift the hip as high as you can. If you can, pulse the leg 5 times. Keep pushing the hip up. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. I want you to wipe the knees from right to left. Just shake it out for a moment. Do one more thing for the hip. Just keep it down. We want to connect the foot to the knee, and then we slide open into straddle, and we pull it into the other side. Hope you have a sliding floor. Nice. And then stay in your easy straddle, just do one circle around to really ground the hips down the direction as well. So, just change the screen so you see better. Okay, I'll do my favorite core exercise. To have the legs forward, you lean back, the ribs and the navel want to pull in, the arms are forward, head back in one line with the spine, and then just pump the hands next to your body, keep the head back, the navel pulling in. This should warm your deep core up very quickly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fingertips touching. You want to go with the elbow towards the right and left. Try not to do it with the head. Keep the chest nice and open. Nice. That should be enough for the warm-up. And I want to go towards handstands. See. Start with the legs together and find your deep lunge as you go forward. Try to use the compression and the rounding of the spine to go either to an L shape or all the way up. Try to do the same on the way down. Really go through that low point. We need the ribs and the compression. Let's just do 5 on the right and 5 on the left. I will come watch. You don't have to walk in, but if it feels good, you can also walk in. We just want to start in a low lunge to find the length. See if you can touch the belly to the thigh. Nice. Very good. Nice. Should be that floatiness feeling when you feel the hips are up. Should feel easy to pull the second leg up. Try to find the ease when you walk in. Nice. Get your hip over your shoulder. Very nice alignment, everyone. Take the first few to just arrive. We'll get more into detail in a moment. I personally always like to switch between right and left after one rep, that it doesn't feel like, okay, I do 5 on my good leg and then 5 on my bad leg and I end with the bad leg and it feels frustrating. So see how you can keep the mood of training both sides up. Nice. Looking very good. Nice. Yeah, they get more floaty as you do them. Nice. Yes. On the way down, it feels to me that I'm like pushing the ribs back to keep also my leg quite close to me, right? I'm going through a low lunge movement, but I'm still wanting to kind of go into my body and not changing so much the orientation. On the way up, you all do it super nice. Try to also do that on the way down. Yes, that's it. To make it nice and soft, you want to keep pushing into the floor to have space to work the active compression. Keep pushing, nice. Okay, good corrections. That's kind of a similar feeling to what we had when we were doing the deep core muscle. If you lean back and you kind of push the belly out, it's more from the six pack, but in handstands, we want to use the deep core muscle where the lower core is going to work by pulling the navel into the spine, and that allows us also to flatten out our spine. And that's why I really like that Pilates exercise in the beginning. We want to do a stability drill in our handstand, where you just scissor the legs in the front and in the back with a nice straight spine. Even here on the floor, you will feel that the lower leg has to really be in the back. Otherwise, you have this pike when you go up. So in your handstand, however you want to enter, you want to cross in the front and back, but focus on the leg that's in the back, because the one that we cross in the front pulls us otherwise too much into the pike. So if you would do that with a wall, which you all don't need, just for the people who watch the recording, I'm also going to show that. I would do it with belly to the wall, so I can keep focusing on the back leg, and then the front leg crosses, and then I switch. Can do the switch in between tapping the foot to the wall. But we want to work that back line of our handstand. Do it slow if you've never done it, so to feel where the line is. If you want to challenge yourself, you can do it quite fast. Yes. Keep the ribs. Flatten out that back. See if you can move the legs independently. Nice. Looks like some of you are just going forward and back, but we do want to cross in the front and back. Instead of doing this, we want to cross. Both is possible. The one that crosses is a bit harder because it challenges your straight alignment. Nice, Shailina. That was great. That's it, Astri. Nice. Yes, very good alignment, Sakir. Nice. Too easy. Too easy for me. Let's do one exercise before we do it in handstands, just to open a bit the twist. So find your easy straddle, and then I want to reach with the front arm forward and the top arm up, and I want to switch. It is really important for your handstand that you keep reaching forward and this up, because if I'm just going down, I can go lower, but that would mean I round my spine, and that would be very hard in handstand. So it feels like pulling in each and opposite direction, like the arm that's pulling up and that's pulling front to work that kind of weird twisted side compression. Just try to do a few. If you are in a gym or something where you have a weight that you can push overhead, I find that really helpful for that push from the shoulder. I don't have one here, but And then stay with your torso over one leg and just hold that compression for a moment. And same on the other side. I use the hand to twist my torso before I go forward. Then we want to do that in handstands. You've started your straddle and you just want to find the twist that we did now with the arms, with the legs. Also here, you want to think with that back leg, really reaching back and over. You can also go when you feel the lightness a little bit into a one arm shift, only if that is in your practice. But the stability comes from here. We want to twist the whole torso. If this is not integrated, the legs will drag you in different directions. See if you can find that. Also start slow and only go as far as you feel like you can bring the spiral back. First, the full twist. Nice. Kind of what I said with the hands on the floor. For me, it feels best if I keep reaching out with the legs and do that really big stretched out straddle. The moment your legs soften, they get more independence and then they start doing weird things. Nice. Very nice, SG. Yeah, keep focusing on keeping the back leg over the back. Having that back leg kind of twisted and back should create some lightness in your hand. And it doesn't matter right now if you use that lightness to do a one arm shift or not, but try to just feel it, that there is more pressure in one hand. And if your back leg is kind of diagonal stacked on top of your shoulder, there is a bit of lightness in the opposite hand. Nice, very good. Yeah. See if you can kind of use the physics of the body to create that lightness on your shoulder. Also, let me know if you have questions. You can always ask questions. And also just try a few in each direction. The more I think with the back leg that it can really go over the back, the easier it should feel in your shoulders. If you're doing it kind of in the front, it feels very heavy in the front. And worst case, you fall out, you do a cartwheel, you can all do it. So. Nice. Yes. Nice twists. Nice. I know. I personally like stretching and handstands. So I'm always finding ways to like, it feels different, right? When you're on the floor and you twist, you also use gravity, but because our legs are quite heavy when we're upside down, I also like that to actually twist and stretch upside down. Let's give you one more variation if you want, but if you want to work a bit more towards press, you can come down in this toe tap to the floor, go over the side and feel the twist a bit more here. It can be also like a little jump, but it comes over the side. You reach with the top leg up to go back into your straddle. When I start, it feels like 45 degrees, and I use the pull to straighten it out. And then I also do the same on the way down. Similar sensation like a puppy press, but with both legs straight. And you can, of course, also, if you need some more height, do it with a yoga block or something higher. Or just do the negative and just see if you can slow down the way down and just tap the floor. Nice. Nice. See that you keep the shoulders in the same spot. Often when we twist or go out to the side, the shoulder wants to come with us. So I really have to fight to keep the shoulder in. What I mean by that, and I'm going to show it closer, is if I'm like going to the side, the shoulder would go out. That would be painful for the shoulder. So if I want to go out, I need to go in with the shoulder and really keep it in. I mean, you can also try a few of these shifts on the ground, shoulder in, and the hip goes over. Nice. Nice. That's why when you kind of use the gravity of the legs and the hips, they can help you to create that lightness that allows you to push more in and up with the shoulder. That's the idea, but we will do one shape that I really like to feel that. And let's do it seated first. So the hip is open, the leg is back. And if you want to use your full flexibility, you can go quite forward. And then just lean to the straight leg one time. And then bring it up and lean to the bent leg with the arms up. That outer hip that you feel, you should also feel in your handstand. Let's do the other side before we do it standing. Open, really ground the sitting bones. Give yourself a side bend first. Then bring it up and try to go to the side that's a bit harder, the bent leg is. If you do it standing, it feels similar to like really open here, but then also pulling back. You want to really open the front of the hip. When the knee hangs in the front, it is quite hard. So you really want to create that bow kind of feeling over the back, over the back. You can try that on both sides. Lots of you are doing yoga, so that's kind of yoga variation, but handstands looks like this. You go up, you bend the back leg, and the back leg is the one where you're going into your side bend. You can also switch from right to left, really open that knee to the ceiling, and that's the side you want to drop. Also, this feels very intuitive for me when I go with the back leg over the back, that's a one-arm shift that you don't even have to think about, because first you use the legs, the full pull, and then you might feel lightness in your other hand. But focus on a good alignment of the shape first. I'm going to also show it with the wall. In your straddle, you go back, and then you can only touch with the back foot. You can lean, 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 and maybe even shifting here. Also feels like a nice stretch in handstands to me. See if you can feel the outer hip and the butt squeeze. That will help you to focus on keeping the pelvis locked. Nice. A really weird rotation with the leg and the hip. And the other leg is staying in your straddle. Yes. The knee that's bent wants to rotate to the ceiling. So yes, nice, Akir, super nice. You really kind of want to drop the heel down and the knee lifts. Nice. Really good. Drop the heel a bit more, Shailina. Now the knee is facing forward. You want to face it to the ceiling. Yes, that's it. That's the right rotation. And then with the other leg, you can stay a bit more in the straddle, right? The other leg can go a bit more forward, especially if this goes so much back. And it feels a bit twisted, but when you look at it from the front, it doesn't look twisted. The sensation, that's why I like the prep we did here, is also very twisted, but then it looks really straight from a certain angle. Try it on both sides. My left is a lot more flexible. That's why it looks a lot deeper on one side, but try to do both. See if you can find the knee pointing to the ceiling and the bent leg. Really nice. Yes. Sakir, I think you can use a bit more weight in the leg and that will make the hand lighter. Right now you're stopping it a bit early. If you go a tiny bit more, this hand should go a lot lighter. Now you really need to wait forever, I feel like, to do this. I'm going to try to show it slow motion again. See. So if you go here, I do this, I do the rotation. Here I still have weight in two hands. So I need to kind of drop a lot and then the hand gets light. Yes, nice. That's it. Nice. Yes, straighten out the other leg, Shailina. Straighten out, yeah. I feel you thinking upside down. Yeah, actually the straddle leg can be in the front. Right now it's very high up, and that's why when you bend this, you feel like you're pulled back. So think about of like an inward rotation in the front leg and a bit more forward, then it should feel a bit better. And also, again, like you don't have to do this with shifting. I also feel it feels nice to just bend the back leg and rotate it to the other side and kind of make it a bit more like a swivel kind of movement for the hip. Yes, much better. Nice, Shailina, that's it. Yes. Nice. Yes, nice. Knee a bit more to the ceiling, Astri. Yes. It's a really weird rotation. Like I have to twist a lot. Like now it's kind of here, so overdo it. Like feel that attachment on your hip and butt really squeezing. Yeah. Then I know I've done it enough when I almost get a cramp there.
Are you using the straight leg as a counterbalance of the leg that going back?
Yeah, like what I was saying to Shailina, right? If the leg is too high or too open, it pulls you back. So the front leg, that's a bit hard to explain that, but I'm gonna try. So if this is here, the front leg, like when I'm seated, right, to not turn, like has to have an inward rotation and a pulling into the hip socket. I'm gonna try to show you in handstands. So if I would be here and this leg would stay high, I can't go. So to go deeper, like there is this like pulling in. Like this allows me to lock the hip. I don't know if you can see that enough. It's really, this is here and this pulls in to fix the belly. Give it one more try before we switch. If you want, otherwise your normal straddle is also just nice to reach out and feel the length in the body. Nice. Very good corrections. I know, I really like the shape. It just feels nice in my body, but not for everyone. Nice. Yeah, feel free to roll out your wrists for a moment. We'll go a bit more towards the next shape. What I want to do is kind of this. One leg is straight and one leg is bent. And we are doing it in our handstand. So try to do it here, seated. The leg is crossed over, but I'm trying to keep my shoulders up. If you want more compression, you can lean towards the straight leg, but with the shoulders open. And we do the same on the other side. See if you can use that hook to feel the inside of the legs, right? If I would do that hook and kind of just let the knee drop, it's very different. But if I really push my foot down and I'm trying to squeeze the knee into the center of the body and lean forward, the compression has to work more. Here I can go a lot more forward and it doesn't feel like much. But I like to use these exercises to work on my compression. If you do that in your handstand, you can start in this position and then use the other leg to hook it around. And if you want to work more on the compression, you can really use the top leg to squeeze it down. If it's easier for you, you can also do it from tuck. Then you just have to straighten one leg out and hook it. If this is all too complex with the hook or you don't feel safe enough to train it and let go, feel free to start in your tuck, keep the knees together and just straighten one leg out. We'll do this with the wall. I would do this actually back to the wall so you can move further back. You bring your feet into your tuck and then straighten one leg out. And if it pulls you down, that's also a good way to train the way down. Any of these variations that call you, work on your kind of half-pike position. See if you can find the pike where the ribs push back instead of kind of hanging out in an arch and in slightly too open or too close shoulders. Nice. That's it, Astrid. Keep the hips back there. kind of where your body is on the edge. Like you can do it slow. And what I said in that other shape too, it helps to get the hips back by pulling the leg back instead of just letting the hips come back, because then we lose this part. So see if you can, in the shape you were, retract the leg back into the body. Nice. Feel the ribs supporting the whole alignment. Nice. 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 And this one, Charlina, the straight leg can go a bit higher because you came from here and then you brought it down here. I pulled you too low. Yeah, think of the straight forward. Yeah. It's also possible, but it's really, really hard. Actually, I wanna try what you tried, but going towards the wrist tap. Here. Go here. Yeah, that's a really hard compression drill. Thanks for making it up. Yeah, you can always go easy or hard on that one. I like to use, because my body needs the weight to kind of compress more. It's a lot easier for me to move against a resistance. I like to use these exercises where I use the push of the leg or the heaviness of the leg to work on my compression. But if that doesn't feel good, go easy. Yes, and now pull the straight leg back into the hip. Back, 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 back. Yes. I'm going to try to also show it again in from the tuck. Then the tuck, I could do a tuck where I'm kind of hanging out here, or I can do a tuck where I'm pulling the legs in and really pushing the back of my shoulders. If I straighten one leg or two, it doesn't matter. So I want to find that connection from the ribs and core in the back of my shoulders, that no matter where my legs are, I can move them into another place. Now, of course, this is a bit lighter if you just straighten one leg to the front, but especially when the legs go to the front, I want to create that suction of the leg back, because if I just straighten it, it goes away from me and it feels really heavy in my shoulders. So I want to pull it back and pull it back to support that.
So for me, it's like when I get lower with my straight legs, I feel like my shoulder is taking in. So do I have to try all the way to be like elevated as much as possible?
And the lower you go with the legs, the more you have to push, and in the pike, that's the heaviest, right? But you can try also to go, let's see, from like straight handstand, and then see if you can keep the back, and the lower I go, the more I pull the legs back. Like that's why at the end, if I would go all the way through, I want to keep that. Like I have to fight in the shoulders the whole time and trying to do this pulling in, like what we did in the beginning of the toe taps too, to create compression.
So it's a lot of compression while pushing very strong in the shoulder like the whole time.
Yeah, I'm trying to, that's why the one leg is quite nice, because it's half the weight, to just feel like, okay, can I not move anything in the shoulders, even though the weight pulled me forward and wants to compensate, right? Yeah. So at the end, it's more an awareness exercise to not cheat on yourself.
Yeah.
The body always wants to find cheats. So.
Yeah. For me, it feels hard because I just feel like when I get too low with my legs, I just fall down out of my shoulder, but I think it's just the process.
Yeah, let me see it once from the side. Maybe I see something else that I didn't explain otherwise. Yeah, nice. Now keep that pushing. Try to settle in the shoulders. Nice. To push. Yes. Nice. Yeah, the shoulders look good. I think you can, when you then bring the legs closer in, use a bit more of the ribs. If they are out, it's hard to push for the shoulders. So that's why I like all these drills where you have to pull here and go forward. This is really hard for me. Like I really have to fight to keep the shoulders open. My body wants to do this, right? So I have to fight a lot here and try to create that pull from the compression, but the ribs want to stay back instead of out to arch and go forward.
But in this drill, do you bring them out to create like this counter movement to bring your hips over? You pull them back like.
I pull the ribs back and I pull shoulders open and create compression like this instead of going here.
Yeah, okay.
And I want to do one more thing. If you want, you can use kind of like a puppy press or puppy pose on fingertips to open your shoulders in the meantime. But here also, we don't want to drop the chest and arch. I want to keep the ribs in to have a nice long body shape and already still have my handstand position. There's like many ways to do it, and it's not wrong or anything. It's just a technical choice. And the way I like to train, or this is why I want to do the things the way I want to do, is I want to be able, for example, to do 10 pike up and down without losing my shape. I want to be able to move from one shape to the next shape. That's why I want to be always connected to my ribs, because otherwise this is really hard. Let's see how I show you this. We want to go with slightly, let's just see if you can see me, slightly open V shape. Either you balance that and focus on the ribs because it's a bit easier. The legs are slightly open, or you use that also to work on your pike, but with the ribs also integrated. So this position is very important later also if you want to go towards stalder press. All the compression work in the beginning of a stalder press, you want to be in this distance. If you're really wide, it's really hard to use the ribs and core. It is possible, but if you think doing 10 stalder presses in a row, it wouldn't be possible. You can maybe do one and then collapse on the floor. That's why it is useful to train the shape and also use that in the compression with the ribs. Feel free to ask questions if something wasn't clear. But that should feel a little lighter than if you do a full pike with the legs together. Feel free also to take a moment to go back to what we did in the beginning with the slide open legs, reaching the legs up when feeling compression here. Also this, if you have kind of like a bar with weight that you can push against, I find it helpful to keep the resistance in the shoulders instead of either rounding too much or arching to go forward. There's many ways to train these things without even being in a handstand. I think they're all very useful. Nice. It's heavy. It's really hard in the shoulders to keep them open. I still fight and I do a lot of handstands to keep the shoulders open. Yeah, pull the ribs a tiny bit more. Nice. That looks better. Yes, nice. Just because I want to show you where this could go if I would go towards a negative shoulder press, where I'm here in this position. I want to go towards a toe tap and then keep legs closed to be able to land here. If the legs are really wide, you also have to go a lot more forward with the shoulders. And yes, flexibility is good, but at the end, the point that we need the most is hips, ribs, and shoulders, and we want to figure out how to use that most efficiently. Yes, nice. Hips, hips, hips. Good, Shailina. Wait a little longer even with the legs. The hip can still go a tiny bit more back, then the legs will feel light. It will feel more the legs float off instead of you are lifting the legs. Hips, hips, hips. Nice, good. And then keep going and correct the straight alignment. Nice. Now keep the hips back, keep the hips back, keep rolling through your whole spine. Nice, yay. Might be also a bit easier if you do it on your blocks, then you have a tiny bit more space and you can use that space for the compression. Yes, nice. That's where this pulling in of the legs into the hips, that also creates space. If I don't do that, I don't have enough space to roll through my whole body. Nice. Yes, SG, good. Yay. And then in that moment, when you fall onto your butt, try to keep the weight a bit longer in your hands. Like just trust the weight in the hands, meaning now your weight went to the heel and then the butt drops, right? So see if you can keep the weight in the front and just hold it for a second when you arrive. The weight in the hand tells us a lot where our body is in relationship to that. Nice. Keep the hips back, keep the hips back. Use the compression and fight in the shoulders. Stay up. Nice. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. Nice. Good fight. Really nice. Yes. Nice. That was even better. It was better, but you feel where it's going now. Yeah, that was good.
Just a little bit of like losing the connection of the core is like you release as like hips coming down.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the same in a negative press. When even when you see almost the feet coming to the floor, we often give up on the push. And that's a bit like that, like when the moment you like come through and see the legs through, you have to push more to keep the butt lifted. But as soon as you give up on the push, like your butt just gets heavy. Yeah. And it's just very tempting when we see the legs close to the ground that we give up the shoulder push. But that shoulder push is what you also need for the start, right? That's when we talk about normal press. If I really take time here and keep the push, I won't be able to hover here. Because as soon as I drop in the shoulders, the legs come down. And it's not the legs lifting, it's coming really from the push and the compression that the legs lift. Give it one more go if you want to have another go. Otherwise, feel free to rest for a moment and drink a sip of water. Nice, that's it, Astrid. Super nice. Hey. It's always push. You can never push enough. You can never compress enough. Keep that push. Keep that push. Nice. Keep the push. Push, push, push. Yes, that's it, Zakir. Nice. And yeah, that relates to all the things, right? Like, of course, our body wants to close the shoulders when it gets heavy and avoid the weight. And I feel like in handstand, we have to resist that. That's why we find all these excuses, but we're not flexible enough or whatever. But it's not so much a flexibility. It is good to have flexibility. It makes a lot of things easier. But the principle of the technique and the physics is still the same. Okay, let's do one last one before we go a bit more towards conditioning. I want to do, let's show you this angle first. This shape with the flexed feet, so you can use the flexed feet to really push the ribs back. Kind of like you're standing like this on the wall, and you just want to push this part of your body back. And I find with the flexed feet, we invite our body a bit more to go towards the back of the body. And it is a bit easier with a mini straddle than with straight legs. But if you want the challenge, get the legs all the way together, but use the flexed feet to feel the back line of the body and then push the ribs back. Imagine you're standing on the ceiling with your flexed feet. Yes, very nice. Heels a tiny bit more back, Astrid. Shakir too. Heels a bit more back. Open the hip to the front. Yes, nice. It's a bit weird to trust it. If you've never done it, it feels a bit weird, but it helps us to focus on the ribs. Nice. Yes, that alignment looks great. The hips push forward, the ribs go back into the, yes, straight line of the body. Looks good. Nice. I'll take that one. And if you have a wall, use the wall. So the feet are pushing into the wall. You can either do that mini straddle again that you just did, or you can do it with the legs together. You really want to push into the wall. You reach the arms up, and you're trying to touch the wall without closing the shoulders, right? So we want to keep reaching forward and up and keeping the hands on the height of the shoulders. Because our feet are flexed, it might create quite some tension in the back of your legs. If it's too much, slightly bend the legs, but it feels nice to push the feet into something. Just try to stay there for a few breaths and see if you can keep the arms nice and high. And in that position too, you can work on pushing the ribs back, pushing the ribs back. Then when we push the ribs, often the shoulders want to close, so you have to work on both ends, pushing the ribs and the shoulders. Looks great. Nice. The tightness that you might feel is not only the hamstring, it's often the calf muscle actually that we don't stretch so much. And because the feet are flexed, the calf is stretched. Okay, now for the conditioning, let's work on the same idea with the ribs. You have something that's on the height of your hips. Again, feet slightly apart is a bit easier, feet together is a bit harder. So here, I want to activate the back of the shoulders, and I really want to pull the legs and the ribs in. It's not this hanging out, it's really finding the ribs to push back. And then it will feel like my feet drag forward. Instead of holding this for however long, see if you can do a shitty variation and then pull yourself into good alignment and try to stay there for a few breaths and maybe relax and then pull yourself back into it. I want you to feel when you're in your handstand how it feels to have the ribs out and the shoulders closed and how you can pull your body back into this. So 3 to 5 repetitions, however much energy you have, but note in your brain, like I talk to myself in my handstand, so like note in your own awareness, like this is the shoulders are closed, this is when the shoulders are open and the ribs are in, to just create that internal image for yourself. Nice. Yes. When the ribs are really pushing in, it feels like a corset from the front that kind of hugs the ribs to the center of the body and makes the back of the body look nice and flat. And yes, it doesn't feel comfortable till you train it. It feels quite heavy in the beginning if you never activated it, but it creates a lot of stability in your handstand. And maybe also throughout this week, you can film it from the side and do exactly what you did now, pulling yourself out from kind of like a slightly too comfortable and misaligned position into that alignment, and see if you see the difference in your body and how the side of the body looks nice and straight. Nice. Yeah. Good, good, good. That's it. Very nice. Looks great. Cool. When you're done with that exercise, take a moment to roll out the head and neck. Maybe take your right hand to your left ear with the elbow bent or straight. Try to create space alongside of the body. Switch to the other side. Reach out. Feel the space. Both hands behind the head and neck. Just let the chin drop to the chest. Nice. Thank you very much for joining today.